debt that has been taken by Kenya been put into the two things for which it is legally allowed to do: development and then shortfall budgetary expectations, if they've actually met,
that's a great thing with our with this constitution of ours. It says that debt must be, Article 220, must be in the budget. So if you look in the budget, in the 10 years of Uhuru Kenyatta, because those are the years we audited, in the 10 years of Uhuru Kenyatta, only 2 trillion is in the budget. So if we found 2 trillion from Kibaki, Parliament only approved another 2 trillion. Okay. So it would have gone to 4 trillion. How did he go up to 9? It's not in the budget. It did not go to expenditure on the budget. It did not go, as the laws say, towards development. It would have been in the budget, right? Under this regime, how much has been passed in the budget? How much?
Well, if what we're saying is that we ended at 9 trillion with Uhuru Kenyatta,
yes,
and if the current debt is now at 13, so 4 trillion shillings has been passed under this regime in the last 4 years?
Where?
Is that what we're saying?
Show me in the revenue estimates.
We would see it in the revenue estimates that it had been passed.
Yes.
It hasn't.
It hasn't.
And this is public knowledge and public information.
Yes. Okay. So if it is not in the budget, it is not sovereign to us, because our laws bind our sovereignty. If it binds our sovereignty, then that debt, which is not in our budgets, was not passed by our parliament, is not sovereign to us.
So I see where you're going with this. So let's just say it. If it's not sovereign to us, it was not passed by parliament, then what is this debt?
Outright theft. Outright theft. It's nothing else. Because how was it? What did it do? If we didn't approve it, what did it do? If it did not pass our books, how? And this is very simple. What happened, though? And it's clear Kenyans understand the malfeasance of this. In March 2014, a very interesting amendment was brought to Parliament. This is where the constitutional sin started. There was an amendment to Article 206 of the Constitution that was brought in PFM, Public Finance Statute Law, an inferior law, to amend the Constitution. And it said this, 206 says this, that all revenues enter the consolidated fund. All right?
Yes.
Now, and it gives 2 exceptions. 1, appropriations in it, and 2, a fund created by Parliament. The Housing Levy Fund, Petroleum Development Fund, created by Parliament. Now they brought something called Infrastructure Fund. There are about 18 of them.
Right.
A and B, that's the Constitution. In the PFM Statute 2010, they copy-pasted that into Public Finance Management Act. All right? But in March 2014, my good friend Olon Duale, as majority leader, brings an amendment in Public Finance Management Act to add to that clause C and D.
Saying what?
Saying that loans, government-to-government loans, I don't know from where, payments of fees, and I can tell you they covered anything that they could cover to say that money goes out of the country, can be received outside the country, can go into accounts all over the world for the payment of all sorts of things or receiving loans anywhere, right? The current finance CS, John Buddy, he was then minority leader.
Yes.
Seconded that motion, and it passed. So they amended the Constitution through statute law, through an inferior act, without going through the Constitution provisions of how to amend the Constitution. That's where the constitutional thing happened.
Because what we're saying here is that for an amendment of the Constitution, you must go via referendum.
You must go 2/3 of Parliament.
Yeah.
Right? And that would have been a referendum issue. It qualifies for a referendum issue. Because we have to accept that now money is not accountable. right? Because what happened, what we said in the Constitution, was that when money is voted by Parliament, it goes to one account called the Consolidated Fund.
Yes.
From that account, there are two other constitutional offices that oversight it. One is the control of budget. Every time there's a requisition to remove money from that account, she verifies that it is a vote from Parliament. And she approves the exchequer issue. All right? Second is the Auditor General oversights the accounts.
Yep.
That account.
After spend.
After spend. Now, the minute you're saying it goes to another account and it has no oversight, who is controlling it? Those two constitutional offices have only sight of what is in the law, what is the consolidated fund.
It sounds like it would only be an issue if money actually did go to an external account that is not approved by these two constitutional offices. Have we ever seen that happen?
Yes, the first Eurobond. The first Eurobond that was taken soon after this amendment.
It's your assertion that that money never hit the shores of Kenya?
What they showed us in terms of documentation, $1 billion, it was $2 billion. $1 billion was accounted for, right? Wrongly, because 600 of that went to pay a syndicated loan of the previous regime. 300, we saw it enter the 350 entered the consolidated fund. These are dollars. Now, $1 billion we never saw. They tried to explain it later, saying it entered some sovereign fund account in the treasury, in the central bank. But we did not see it. And I'll tell you how we didn't see it. Because there was a lot of noise about it at the time. In fact, my friend Raila Odinga had raised big issues on it. The treasury, under Rotich, volunteered information that they put on their website to show that this was a transaction. And they shared with us the SWIFT transfers of the 650 that went for the syndicated loan, dollars. $350 million that came to central bank. Those were shared. When we asked for the other balance $1 billion, they actually shared with us a redacted SWIFT they had cancelled. Now, what they showed on those SWIFTs is that money, you see, you've got to understand it. The transaction advisor was JP Morgan Chase. So they go out into the market and they ask for money from people to invest in this bond in Kenya.
Yeah.
The prospectus was very clear. It said various development projects in Kenya, and it was signed by Rotich. That was the prospectus document. Okay? So JP Morgan goes out in the market, it's not their money, and they ask investors to invest in these bonds. It has a high interest rate of 6%. Okay? You know, overseas that is a high interest rate. So people invest in the bonds. So money went into an account at JP Morgan Chase. Right? Now, government at the time was trying to act like that's an account that JP Morgan Chase was receiving revenue to then send. Now, you and I know the law does not allow that.
No.
So we followed up. And we found documentation that shows the accountant general, that is the person who signs all the exchequer issues and opens accounts for the government, is the one who signs the consolidated fund. Him and his deputy. So he's a man called Bernardongo, who is still there up until today. And his deputy opened an account at JP Morgan Chase.
For what
Sovereign
purpose?
Wealth Fund Kenya. To receive this money. And the two of them were the signatories to that account. There's a letter by Rotich that appoints them to be the signatories of that account. So understand, Parliament passes this amendment, they go there, open this account that has no oversight of control of budget, no oversight of the Auditor General. They open it, and they are the ones who dispense with the money.
And where does it go?
We saw the 650 and the 350. We don't know where the $1 billion went to.
Right. Today,
that is for another conversation.
Of course.
Yeah.
But looking at all of this money today, Kenya is being asked to pay for that, and all of
That
this
was just
comes
one.
together. Well, that's that plus others, and like you said, you know, time is not.
Imagine they did $18 billion worth of things like that. $18 billion. These are mind-boggling figures.
They are.
All right. Now, that is money we don't see anywhere. You don't see at all.
But you're being asked to pay for it.
We are paying for it.
Today.
And we cannot afford it. Why does this debt not go down? We paid 2.6 in the last financial year. We are paying 2.8 this year. In the year after elections, we're going to be paying 3.2 trillion.
But let's look at the Finance Act, which, you know, it was a bill. A couple of weeks ago, the president then signed that into law. And what that does with the current budget now that you're looking at, you know, 4.4 trillion shilling budget, 4.8 trillion, that 1.1 trillion of that money is still going to be debt. You don't know where it's going to come from, that you don't have it available. What is being lodged on KRA is 2.8 that they must collect. And, you know, mop up money here and there. But 1.1 trillion shillings is what is not available, which what we are told by the CS is it will be borrowed. So latch that on to the debt that you talk about already. But what we are saying...
And it's being borrowed for what? Is it being borrowed for development?
Oh, no, it's to meet the budget. This is what
for
we're
what
saying.
expenditure? You see, they are creating illegalities every single year. And is it that we become immune to this? Well, that 1.1 you're talking about, they say they are collecting in the domestic market. We did not find it on the revised estimate, on the revenue estimates. And even as they argue, they say, oh, if you look at the balance, remove domestic and foreign, you'll see that it's there. I say, okay, then show us on the expenditure side.
Because it should show.
It much should show.
Okay.
You don't see it on the expenditure side. Because the expenditure side, it can only show in the development expenditure side. It does not show. And all loans we take on the expenditure side development are shown. You find all the foreign loans are there. We're getting from Canada, we're getting from India, we're getting from the World Bank. They're there towards development. But you do not see domestic debt funding anything on development.
Which is the bulk of the debt.
Yes.
Because
so
you're
you
saying
ask yourself, what is this? Are we become immune to this impunity? Does Parliament just pass impunity?
Well, let's link this to the first thing that you said, which is that, you know, you had declared all intentions to run for the presidency. And this is one of the things that you're riding very heavily on. Link the two. What would be the difference with all of this that we are seeing, where there's 91% of our revenue,
tax revenue,
going to debt repayment? What would be the difference with the Jimi Wanjigi presidency if we see this problem today? Why would it be Jimmy to solve the problem? Because we can lament Jimmy, but at some point we drop the sackcloth, right?
So what happens is this. Kenyans need to understand that this state is a bankrupt state. We are bankrupt. All right? And this burden doesn't go away. I can give you the figures to 2040. Right? And somewhere along the way, it's going to crash. It's going to crash, and it's going to be such a threat to our lives. You can look at any country that has defaulted, the damage that comes to people's lives. You saw a lot of Ghanaians, for example, in South Africa. And they never used to be Ghanaians there, now being chased away because of xenophobia. The problem, they went there because of the collapse. When they defaulted, people had no opportunities. They fled. There were never such a big population in South Africa. So here, we are in a bankrupt state, and we must accept that reality. We must. And recognize that as long as we are paying this, there's no change to our lives. We are fooling ourselves. We're sweeping the dirt under the rug. Now, my opinion and my assertion and our party is very clear. What we term as odious debt shall not be paid by a Kenyan anymore. What cannot be accounted for the sovereign that did not pass our laws shall not be paid. So we shall immediately not pay this debt. We shall suspend it, give ourselves breathing time so that Kenyans can have an audit of this debt officially by a government and come back and show them what has been happening.
Show who?
Show Kenyans.
How does that play out for Kenya on the global scale?
How
does that play out on the private scale here? Because
how it works is this. Just like your bank, when they are loaning you money or you're opening an account, they do a KYC. Know your client. Anybody who has loaned Kenya money should know our laws.
Right.
This is our Bible. All right? If it did not go according to this, it is not sovereign to 60 million Kenyans. So if you did not do your due diligence, it is solely up to you. Solely up to you. And I don't think there's any country or any creditor that is going to say a new government that takes power, that is choosing to not take over a burden until they audit it, is doing something unfair. Is doing something untoward. It would not even take maybe a maximum of 3 months, maybe 6 months, okay, for us to audit this debt. You must remember, we've been talking about audit for the last 3 to 4 years, and we never see it. Even the current minister said he's going to show us an audit. In the MOU with ODM, it is there. We've never seen it. We never see it. Yet it's a provision of the Auditor General. And she has come out publicly to say the difficulty she's having with it. Now, we never see this audit. We shall audit this debt. So we will suspend. And when we suspend, look at it this way.
What would happen, if I can?
Yes.
What would happen in the case of this suspense, whereby debt payment is not being made because you're checking the numbers? So what happens with that, and how then does life change for anybody?
Well, it means immediately for Kenyans, that money which was going out becomes available for their lives. All right? So if 3.2 was going out in the year 2027, 2028, if that is the amount of debt going out, it's now available. If it's 2.8, it's now available. Right? Doesn't that mean we can fund our entire budget without borrowing? But look at what we're adding. We are saying that we have what is called a FIST agenda. The FIST agenda has 5 items. That's why we call it FIST. We shall not pay odious debt, which means we have enough money available for education, from primary school to high school to Tibet. We've costed that at about 300 billion shillings. It's available from the taxes that you pay, right? We are saving 2.8 to 3.2 trillion.
Right.
It's available. We've costed, in fact, the government has costed universal health care. I saw you extensively talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
It's 180 billion. Okay? That means we have availability of 180 billion. No Kenyan shall pay from their pocket. Sure. Your ID will guarantee you free medical care. All I know we need to do is probably reinstitute a new ID so that they are digitally accessible. 3, and this is very important. One of the biggest burdens to the cost of our lives has been VAT. Has been VAT because it cuts across all goods. We intend to remove VAT, scrap it, and introduce a 5% sales tax. 5% sales tax, no more VAT, which means that Kenyans have a saving of about 11%.
Okay.
Right? On the cost of goods. But the most, also another carrot, is that now we are not going to borrow from the domestic market. And we are going to sit down with them about their debt. We're going to talk to them. We're going to ask them whether they followed our laws. And we have a plan for them. We have a plan for them. Right? That is going to benefit 60 million Kenyans. Not the few that have been extracting from us.
So the idea is that
that means that you don't
domestic
borrow.
banks should be lending to
development. That is the law. So if they are lending for something else, that's not the law. That is not the law. That means we are not tied to paying it. And I think you need to understand, domestic banks, it's our money that we have given them to as deposits. They then loan us back as a taxpayer, and then take interest from us, from our taxes, to pay them and make huge profits. Look at the 10 biggest companies in Kenya, profit-wise. 8 are banks. Only 2, Safaricom and East African Breweries, are separate to that. 8 are banks. From what? How are banks making money and everybody here is struggling without money? So there is an issue here. There's a big issue. So we are saying that now that government is not going to be borrowing from them, all right? People can access capital at very low interest rates. And that is the goal. Because we need to shift, need to shift the economy.
It sounds like it might be a little bit more tricky. It sounds like you just would want to just come and switch off the lights, Jimmy, and say that, consolidated fund, the first charge of the consolidated fund will no longer be the first charge on the consolidated fund, and that we can just change things like that. It sounds like it would be a little bit of a tricky thing to do.
You see, the first charge on the consolidated fund, by the way, there are 3 items. Debt on one line. It's not that it's one below the other. It's debt, county, pension. All on one line. So that is the first charge. How many people say pension does not come? How many people say counties do not receive their revenue? Okay, on time. So government already has breached that law.
Okay.
So when you come to debt, you are saying we must be allowed time to audit this debt.
Okay.
Okay? Before we accept its liability.
So you're not saying that we're not going to pay the debt. What you're saying is that we want to ensure that, kind of like what everybody's doing with committees in the last few years, let's ensure that this money is actually owed for the purpose for which it was borrowed in the first place.
You see?
Or are you saying let's not pay at all?
No, I am saying we will not pay what is odious to us. What is not legal to us, we will not pay.
But the 13 trillion shillings that you speak about is not all odious.
No.
Okay.
Show us where it is here. And take note. Take note. We have paid how much money towards debt? That's the debt side. But look at how much we have been paying. Up until Uru left, we had paid 5.6 trillion. Right? Up until now, we have paid a similar amount.
So 10 trillion has been paid, but you
More
still
than
owe
10
13.
trillion, and yet we still owe 13.
So this is where the bells are ringing in your
Yes.
head, and you're saying that there's a problem here.
Huge.
Okay. Now, let's put some of these things to bed, Jimmy, because you know what the chatter is about. You must have heard it. You don't live in isolation. That this gospel, according to Jimmy, of how odious debt must be gotten rid of sprouts from a personal issue that you have as a business person who was not allowed in on certain projects. And so that's why you have a little bit of a vendetta. Let's deal with that issue and just say what the issue is here. That does it come from a place whereby you're very concerned about what is happening with Kenyans and saying, you know what, this cannot be the case, or you know what, I'm going to point out these things because I was left out of a particular business deal?
Okay, I think that is very misguided. There was a lot of propaganda, especially in the previous government, that Jimmy is annoyed, Jimmy is supporting Raila Odinga, Jimmy is raising all these things because he didn't get business deals, he didn't get this, he didn't get that. This is total rubbish. Total rubbish. I helped that government come to power. I helped that government come to power. I had no MOU about business deals with that government. No. We were doing something phenomenal at the time. We had just come from clashes in 2007, where brother killed brother in this country. We had never seen it before. Right? Neighbor was killing a neighbor. We had never seen it before. 1,400 people had died just out of an election process. We were healing the nation and ensuring that it does not happen again. Because there were 2 communities that were in the forefront of that fight and had been for some time, government spurred. But that time, it was like it was an organic hatred. And we knew that if those 2 communities stop fighting, this country will stop fighting. It will not be brother against brother again. So we were healing the nation. And I think we did a good job. I don't think we've seen that sort of thing since 2007.
Right.
The community is fighting community. Brother is fighting brother. What you're now seeing are goons and all this is organized payments from a government. But this other thing was so tumultuous. You know, we like to forget, but it was horrific. We watched it. Innocent people, preachers, mothers, children, killed, maimed, burnt. It was horrible, displaced from their homes. People are fleeing even to Uganda. I mean, we've never seen that in Kenya. We like to forget, but it was an amazing moment in our history. Now, we were healing that. So if some of us were keen on putting the two that were seen as the forefronts of it, right, who are being charged in the ICC, to heal this process with communities, I really think people should look at it that way. It had nothing to do with deals. It was something phenomenal that was done. And I'm glad it was achieved. Now, their governance is something else. And that's where now many of us fell apart with them. Kibaki created an economy for all. He brought the private sector, right, into the mainstream of economic growth. He just catalyzed. The model here, with Uhuru and with William today, was extraction. Government is everything. We had 3 to 5%, 8% interest rates under Kibaki. How did they just shoot up to 20? We had access to capital. Everybody was growing somewhere. Cost of living, people are not complaining about. There was infrastructure growth that was phenomenal. You know, we like to forget, we got our internet under Kibaki. Fiber optic cable. Look at what he created. The media, when did it become free? How many radio stations opened up? TV stations opened up. He opened it. That's how he took revenue from 200 billion to 1 trillion. But now we became an extraction economy. Government is everything. And money was sapped from our taxes. Money was sapped from our banks. And that model was the model we saw under Moi. Right? It reduces us. And it was the model I disagreed with. Only to find, when I was running for presidency in 2021, 2022, I said, you know, anybody who is going to be CEO of this country, just like if you're taking over a company, you must know the accounts. So, we audited, did a massive forensic audit. It had nothing to do with anything. We had a feeling, because we were looking at this tax burden on taxes, the debt burden on taxes, that there's something going on here. Let me tell you, Ndu, there's one project that everybody says I was upset with. It's called SGR.
Yes, the SGR, that has come up quite some, you know.
You know, yes, I was a founder of that project. We began pushing that project in 2008 with the same company, China Road and Bridge. And you know, the conclusion of it was that we were going to do it private. So for about 55 billion shillings, we were going to do the rail from Mombasa to Malaba, private. In fact, we had a return on investment of it of 7 to 8 years. All right? We're just straightening the line by turning to SGR standard. We're not going to the civil works of up. And, right, we had a PPP model with Kenya Railways. Because we were taking their land, they were going to have a share of the company.
Okay.
Right? Now, it changed and morphed into a project of 380 billion for the first phase, Mombasa, Nairobi. From 55 to Malaba. 380 billion from
To
Mombasa.
Nairobi.
Yeah, to Nairobi. And then another 180, right? To Naivasha. Now, let's just say it's 120. So 500 to Mombasa. I mean to Naivasha. So 500 billion, okay, for that short stretch. Have you ever seen the end of that line? You should see it. in this so-called duka moja,
right,
you will get the shock of your life.
it just stops.
It stops. In fact, now there are people who are farming all over.
Yeah.
It's actually shocking to see. Okay?
So
a railway to nowhere.
So this did not upset you? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I didn't.
Because
say,
imagine,
it didn't make sense.
Jimmy, 55 billion shillings to now 500 billion, 10 times the amount, and then that is essentially taken from you. That bore no.
Look at it this way.
Frustration.
It was the model.
Part.
It was the model.
Mm-hmm.
I was upset with the model.
Okay.
Right? The model here was from private to public. My model had no debt, had no tax revenue being used. None. It was private investment. Okay? And we were even giving the public, through Kenya Railways, a share because of land. Land is owned by the public. All right? So we're giving them a share. We were running it private. We were building private. No tax, no burden to Kenyans. Right? And providing a service. At that time, railways was only 3% of the transport on that road. Can you imagine? There was a company called, what was it called? Rift Valley Rail. That had taken 23% of transport to 3. Had failed. Right? It had gone down. So we were now trying to revive this line. Okay? With private investment. The government at the time chooses to burden Kenyans with debt and tax revenue. That was where we disagreed.
Okay.
So I don't know, it is the model. Because you must understand, when you take debt, it is future tax revenue from us. It's future payment. Right? This could have gone to other things. Now, when we audited that railway, okay, interesting thing we found with the accounts. The Chinese government, through Exim Bank of China, said they would fund 90%, which is 450 billion shillings. Right? So Kenyans were to pay 10 from our taxes, 10%, which was 50 billion. We did an audit. We got 450 from China. That we got. In fact, we have an outstanding of about $300 billion, 300 billion shillings. Then we audited the 50 billion. Did we pay it? It was called Self-Raising Finance Fund from the Treasury, grant from Treasury to Kenya Railways to Ono Transmission to China Road and Bridge. Do 50 billion. It was not 50 billion.
What was it?
It was not even 100 billion. It was 644 billion.
To pay
so
to
Kenyans, to Kenya Railways, as the 10%, who onward paid to China Road and Bridge, who was a contractor. Now, we paid for that railway from our pocket and more. Yet we are still burdened with the debt. That is the malfeasance of that. More money was extracted from us than was even required on the contract.
In the name of paying 10% towards this loan for this railway.
Yes. That's why I keep saying Treasury is a mafia operation there. It really is. Because how does one hand not know what the other is doing? You know, what is going on there? How was 10% 644 billion? How did it amount to that?
Okay. So even as you say this, it makes sense, Jimmy.
Why would I be upset? Tell me why I would be upset.
Why? Okay, from a personal point of view, it makes sense. You wouldn't be upset beyond why would you choose a different model? That makes sense. And this that you talk about not paying ODS debt, it's sprinkled with corruption. At least that would be the oversight that we see from
the model changed.
Would corruption also be something that you would be looking into? And we can answer that. I mean, we're going to come back and continue this. We can answer that and look at then what would be the modus operandi for then making sure that governance actually takes a proper role in terms of leadership as well. But if this makes sense, and as clear as the eye can see, why is nobody else who wants to be president talking about this? In the last election, it was very clear that it was going to be an economic election. Money in the pockets of Kenyans was priority number one. Why would nobody pick up on this as well? Why does it, when we hear about ODS debt, we are able to, assign it to you? Why is nobody else talking about this?
You know, it's most interesting. We saw Kalonzo Musyoka with his people's budget. And you can see clearly a total lack of understanding. He's just doing the same thing William Ruto is doing, right? The same thing. And you're expecting a different result. It's like they don't understand it. They don't, many people, by the way, do not understand government money. Even people in government, they do not understand it. People who've been elected. You've seen, even the finance bill in 2024, even this one. How many people could articulate provisions of the finance bill? Right? They do not understand. Our parliamentarians who are supposed to oversight, government itself, and people who've been in government a long time, do not understand the money aspect. They think it is just there and it's available and we just keep doing. They've not understood the model. This model is very simply an extraction model. And it was started in pre-colonial time, in colonial time. Right? I've told you before on your show that we were colonized by a private company. Imperial British East Africa is who colonized us in 1920. Their watchmen became the policemen of Kenya, right? To deal with outsiders, right? This was a company that came to extract from Kenya. That model did not change at independence. Government is seen as an extraction. Today, many people think you go to government to make money, right? You don't make money in the private sector. So many people do not understand government money. So when we are talking about this, you find, ask my fellow competitors, what do they understand about the numbers in Kenya? Ask them about where is the budget, 220. Ask them about revised revenue estimates and expenditure estimates, what it means to them. You find they don't know. So people just keep doing the same thing, and you expect a different result. So they do not, in my view, when I saw the people's budget, I said, really, people do not understand. And they are not taking time to interrogate this very deep problem. Why are taxes rising? The finance bill you are just talking about is extracting another 120 billion shillings in tax from us, right? Increasing this burden. And everywhere you go, people are talking about tax. And government comes back and is loading it on us. And Parliament is reduced debate on lines. They should have just rejected it on just one fact. You're coming to extract from us. At the end of the day, directly or indirectly, we are affected. Show us how it's not a burden, how it is going to increase employment and productivity. You and I know it doesn't.
Because they don't understand it.
That's my view.
Okay.
Because I can't see it. And that tells you that models have reached their end. People here have been in traditional models of politics, right? Tribe, regions, kingpins, right? Agitation, maybe on democracy. But you see, we have gone through those phases. This good book guarantees us our political and economic rights. And we have passed the phase of democratic rights. It's now the economic rights. We protect the democratic rights we've got, but we are now on economic rights. And there are people who don't want to see us getting our economic rights.
Okay. Well, being president often takes a lot more than a thought that you might have. So we're going to take a break, come back and discuss then issues around what it actually means and an interesting visit that you made a couple of days ago. It's a situation with Jimi Wanjigi. We will be back after this short break.
This is The Situation Room. The Start Your Day.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. We continue our conversation this morning with presidential aspirant Jimi Wanjigi, as well as the head of the Safina party, the assertions on the economy and why it must take center stage moving forward for Kenyans. And so we continue with that, Jimmy. already established that the reasons why you want to be president is that this country must go in a different direction for the people of Kenya. We've just talked about the economy a little bit and been able to understand a lot of the things that were done before, according to your assertions, that have put Kenya in the hole in which it is debt-wise. But there are other things that are happening in the nation at the moment for which there's an outcry. Your deputy party leader has been in a case that has been trying to deal with those who essentially killed Baby Pendo. And you've come out after that to talk about human rights abuses, those who have been the victims of enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings continues to happen. We are currently in a time when people still continue to disappear. People are shot. People are killed in vehicles, cars, in cells. It's one of the things that must be dealt with in country. How would you deal with things like that? Before we even come to corruption, how would we deal with things like that? That seems to be the outcry of many Kenyans today.
You know, I'm glad you raised that. You see, these are reactions to something, right? When you are unable to govern for the people, you cause attrition on them. The current abductions, look at the timing. It's coming at the anniversary of the finance bill of 2024. What we saw in 2024 was a turning point for Kenyans. They said they are not going to accept further burden to their financial lives. And a government was not listening. A parliament was not listening. And you had an uprising here that we have never ever seen. Those are signs that this situation has changed. It's the economy that is dictating the political direction of the country. What happened effectively in 2024 was a no-confidence motion on William Samoei Ruto and his government. And you can just imagine how frightened he was. He was seeing everything go in a very short time. I have never, and we saw even the rise of multipartyism in this country, seen anything like I saw in 2024. A popular uprising that came from the hearts of many Kenyans in 37 counties. Anybody trying to minimize it to tribal is rubbish. It was tribeless, it was classless, it was leaderless, it was organic, like a spirit. That is a living nightmare for William Ruto. It was mobilized on social media. So he attacks anything social media. To deal with people, he started abducting them. He hasn't stopped. This is a very frightening period. He's tried to brand it even tribal. It's not.
But he's not saying these words. It's people who are around him who might be
Yes,
saying
but
them.
we all know where they get the
to
script
him?
from. Oh yeah, we all know where they get the script from. He's the dictator. He's the script master. Okay? This is always a frightening period. I hear they are frightened for next year, so they are trying to make sure that attention of the country is on AFCON. Okay? So that people, because it's coming at the end, next the elections. So this government is just reacting to the pain, our expression of the pain we are facing. Now, there's a reality that must come to bear. Today, we are talking about 58% of Kenyans, almost 60%, 6 of every 10 Kenyans that are living below the poverty level. 38% of those are multidimensional poor, right? The balance are food poor. Multidimensional, because those are the ones who don't have a job. They can't afford education, can't afford the health. Our proposal is going to deal with that 38% immediately, because we will make sure they can go to school. We'll make sure that's not a burden. Health is not a burden. Right? And out of it, there will be opportunities created for jobs. If we don't pay this debt, and we will not pay it. If it's illegal, we will not pay it.
How are you going to deal with the folks who then were involved in the illegality? Because that's one thing. Many have argued that a lot of the people who may have contributed to the problem still seem to be the ones who are being
Yeah, they reinvent
the
themselves.
toolbox.
They keep reinventing themselves.
How will you deal with that? Because you can't expect those who may have allegedly been in the problem making to be part of the problem solving.
I agree with you. You see, that's why I'm an outsider coming in with insider knowledge. Right? Very much like the Trump model. Right? We're coming in to drain the swamp of this malfeasance. Right? To give Kenya a new birth. A new birth. Where really this model that was entrenched from 1920, where 60% continually remain poor, changes. Because you know what they say when people are looking for food in their stomachs and their own personal needs, they don't look at what the leaders are doing, what the people up top are doing. Now we want to change this model. And you can't change it with the same people, with the same attitudes, with the same template that has been there the last 63 years. It must change.
How though, Jimmy? And I think that folks have been, we mollycoddle this thing a little bit. If somebody has been involved in an act of corruption, it is criminal. What do you do with individuals who have been involved in those acts and have put Kenya in a position where it continues to spiral out of control? What do you do? It seems like a no-brainer. If somebody, again, the same analogy that is used, if somebody would steal a chicken, they would be languishing in remand today. Right?
I
what
operate,
do you do with individuals who
I operate on a different premise here.
How so?
If we can deal with this debt, the illegality of it, buyer beware. Those people who gave us illegal money, they'll look for those that they gave the money. Let's deal with the positive. Because our laws are so good, you don't even need to add another sentence. Ask yourself why they are not actualized. Why are they not actualized? It's us as Kenyans. You know, we are the face of government. Right? What you see there is who we are, and vice versa. And vice versa. I know many people today in the private sector who say within their own companies, corruption is practiced.
They know.
A purchasing manager is doing something with somebody who's supplying to get extra money, right, above his salary. We are the same face, the private sector, as government.
So how do you deal with it?
Why?
Yeah.
So how you deal with it? Why are they doing that? Ask yourself, if they could meet their needs, would they do that? Would they become more ethical? So if needs are being met, there'll be an overall demand, unilateral demand for ethical leadership, ethical practices, which means that we start redefining who is the Kenyan. What is acceptable, what is not? What are our norms? What are we about? And we really need to come there, because I think we are not quite defined. We are not. We are a construct that was made by others. We need to define what is Kenyan and what is not. And when we reach a stage where you're saying stealing is not being Kenyan,
then we stop it.
Then we stop it.
Where is a precedent setter that needs to be something that you put in place to ensure that it's teaching a lesson to someone else? Iwe funzo, as you say in Kiswahili.
Look at what you... How did America get to the extent, for example, where today, even if you have billions of dollars, you can face a prison term. You saw even a president there being taken to court, a former president, Donald Trump, came out of it, but you saw it. That the level of accountability is so high. You've seen in the UK, prime ministers quit because they're having parties during a time of COVID. It's like, that's not an acceptable norm. We must reach that stage.
Okay.
Right?
But it sounds like somebody, I feel like I'm trying to pull the words out of your mouth here. It sounds like somebody needs to be the one who does that. And I mean, you could give examples. Nicolas Sarkozy sat 6 months in jail. South Korea's president and his wife sitting in jail. The Singapore that everybody talks about till tomorrow, the first thing they did was they took errant government officials and sent them to trial.
I like that example.
And they sit in jail.
I like that example of Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew was very clear. He said, I want to guarantee the Singaporean I am going to strive for economic rights. Your political ones, you'll fight for later. Yes, you will fight for later. He was called by the West a dictator.
Right.
Right? Because really your political rights were not guaranteed there. He created a strict discipline to define the Singaporean behavior and habit because he could with dictatorship. They did not have political rights. But he guaranteed them the economic, and he achieved it. Today, Singapore is respected because people have money in their pockets. It's the highest per capita nation in the world, right? So you imagine that we have a president here who is Delulu, imagining that we are going to get to Singapore in his lifetime. It's a joke, okay? Right? Yeah. The per capita there is 94. What are we? Are we even 2,000 and something? Look how far we have to go. Let's even compete with other African countries before we go there. Now, he was clear. In Kenya, we have political rights.
Yes.
All right? You're not going to take that away. You can see William trying to usurp the constitution, continuously taking away political rights that are guaranteed in our constitution. That's why he fails. He looks horrible, he abducts, they are hiding behind those things. Before you could be picked up and sent to detention. Can you imagine how many of us would be in detention if those laws were still there? We'd all be in detention, many of us, right? You could keep somebody in custody endlessly. So here there's no space for that dictatorship. But he's denying us our economic rights. And we must get to economic rights. So let us get our economic rights. We are going to protect our political ones. And we will change it when people now are not looking for food. Yes.
If you take care of the basic needs,
yes,
then these other things then can be achieved.
Yes, then it becomes a national discussion, a discourse.
And in the race to that, Jimmy, do you feel that you need to come together with like minds? The question has been about the united opposition for the longest time as to whether we will have everybody coming together to try and see if they can unseat William Ruto in 2027, or whether people are going to run alone. Remember, we made reference to the fact that you have an agenda that is different from everybody else. That's very clear. And yet, the other day, you visited former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Was that just a cup of tea, or was that something else?
You know, I've been very clear that coming together must be about the agenda of the people. All right? The agenda of the people. Not about the removal of just one man. William Ruto will go, and he's going. But are we solving the problem? He was dead certain and sold us and sold Kenyans that he is going to change the economy for the hustler. He has not. He has created more hustlers, more poor people, right, than he found. He has a GDP that has gone down since Uhuru gave him power. So this man is false. We can't replace him with the same script.
Okay.
Right? It must be an agenda of the people. And one thing people don't understand is that change in this country has always been about the people first, not just about the leadership. If you look at the transition of Moi, it was about 2A. That's where multipartyism started. Remove 2A, then we can deal with Moi. And what was it doing? It was giving people the power to decide where their vote goes. Before that, it was one party that decided at KICC who your MP was, who your president was. Now it's empowering people. Okay? When even we were dealing with Uhuru and Ruto, it was the script of ICC. We are dealing with clashes. Hope that our people will be peaceful. The country will be peaceful. Right? No more of this bloodshed. Hope. William Ruto, his script was now I'm getting rid of the haves called the dynasty, and I'm bringing the have-nots to start sharing in the cake. Today, saying one term, Ruto must go. Fine, that's the negative. What is the hope? What are we telling Kenyans? This is what I'm saying. Then what? Then what? So my view was always that we must come together on the then what.
Right.
Okay? So my meeting yesterday,
Yes.
We both decided we need to consult.
Okay.
Okay? And we had a very good discussion, I must say. A very hospitable couple, and we had a friendly, very productive discussion on the issues of the people of Kenya. Okay? And the trajectory between now and 2027. Okay? I was very happy after that meeting. And since we are still consulting, let me not say too much. because it was a deep meeting.
Okay. So be that cryptic as it may, there is the risk of confusing Kenyans in terms of which direction they need to be taking, because it seems to be a moving target. Which way are we going?
Why are Kenyans in a hurry?
Well, come on now. This is an election that we're talking about, and that people have to make a decision about something that's going to happen in the future.
Yes.
And that people want to be almost sure about this. Some of the things that might be thrown into it is that the president has said, you see, they don't even know what they're doing. Here we are, mega infrastructure, we're running Mount Summit. Here we are launching roads. We're putting in affordable housing. We're making things better for Kenya. What is this thing? And which, according to your own assertions just now, you've more or less admitted to, Jimmy, where you said, okay, that's great, we can say one time, but then what next after that? You know?
No.
So he said the same thing. So Kenyans also kind of want to know, okay, so everybody's saying we're united, but when we talk about coming together, everybody has a role that they want to play. But in this coming together, there are about 6 presidential aspirants in the same, thing. So who is it?
So,
and do you need to have the clarity, according to you, before time?
Oh yes. You see, first and foremost, William Ruto does not have majority of Kenyans' credibility. He's told us too many lies. He can tell us about whatever it is he's doing. I don't think Kenyans buy into it anymore. In fact, they question. He's done this bridge, and people are saying the meters are more than what they are counting. So it tells you he has a deficit of credibility. I don't really care about William Ruto saying. Okay? It's the opposition. We need this time around to come up with a very credible then what for the people of Kenya. Because Kenyans now are a different electorate group. Yeah? We must come up, they've got to see their life. What is expected after the election, August 10th next year, of a new government? It must be very clear, not guesswork, not heavy, clarity. What is the then what? In other democracies, this government comes in, is going to reduce taxes. Right. This one comes in, is going to raise taxes. There's that, except, the outcomes. This one is going to allow immigration. This one will not. Those are the things we need to make sure Kenyans clearly understand. All right? After August 10th, 2027. Now, that is my issue. What was being called the united opposition had no clarity.
You speak about that as though it's it's historical.
You see, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see whether it remains as you have been seeing it. Because the general attitude there has been the target is 1%. Right? And that's good for a while. Now you have to come and market yourselves beyond that 1% to Kenyans.
Right.
So this is where it starts taking a different face. And you're going to see it.
Do you expect support?
The opposition, there's no doubt. The challenge
do you expect support from these other individuals who might be putting themselves up for election as president?
You see, how it works is this way, is I'm about the agenda of the people. All right? So if you can come to this space of the economy, we can discuss. We come together. Right? If it's these other Games, I'm not myself very keen. I want to be very realistic to Kenyans. I don't seek to be president to tell lies, to not actualize what I'm saying. Because Kenyans are going to be very, 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 this time, Kenyans, they will not give anybody space that is just talking. They actually want to feel their life is changing. And immediately, they actually need a break.
One of the things that you've just said, which interestingly enough, your deputy party leader talks about all the time, is to get rid of legacy politicians, people who've been in the boat forever. You talk about draining the swamp, and that people who've been there. I mean, it's almost expected that because their grandfather and then their father after that, and then their mother was, that you would just keep them in the pot. That may not necessarily be good for Kenyans. This is across board. Not just at the presidency level, across board, members of parliament, governors, senator, across board, that Kenya is at a point where it needs proper leadership at every level, from MCA to member of parliament, across board, whether the member of parliament is a senator, woman rep, or a constituency leader. Across board, good leadership is needed. But it seems as though you can't deal with the folks who were there before. What's your thought on legacy politicians?
Who says, now what happens is this. Everything in this country that we have seen so far is top down. The attitude of the president and who he is simmers down to the MCA. Kenyans, my belief is most Kenyans are good. They become bad somewhere along the way out of practice, or it becomes a norm or something of the sort. If you have a head of state that is very firm about doing good, sticking to the law, sticking to what they are saying, honoring their word, and if they are unable, coming back and explaining it to Kenyans. Those are, it would cascade downwards. So let us start there. And there, William Ruto has failed. So he must go. He must get out of the way. That's why we are called the opposition. One united aspect we have is that William Ruto should go. That one, I think we are clear, all of us. Now, the next part is, then what? What happens after that for the people of Kenya? What you're asking. These legacy politicians, many of them, have failed that test over time. Over time. And they must also see these are different times. These are not the same times. So to achieve the task of removing William Ruto, you must agree what is the method. Because he is also a game player. He's also a game master. What are the methods? Because if you don't get that right, even that task you will not succeed. Number two, how do you galvanize the whole country, or most of the country, into a hope agenda for themselves so they buy into this?
Right.
So it's got to be two-pronged. We must remove William. What is the best method? Because to imagine that you can just put anybody and they'll remove them is a lie. It's a lie. He is also a political game player. He is. And we know numbers in this country and how numbers are played.
Right.
Okay? So you must be very clear that you must remove him and develop the formula.
Do you think you can stand it alone, Jimmy? If in the event that people in the united opposition or whatever, I mean, if there are cracks in that, whether it's going to actually hold together later on, do you think that you could stand it alone and say, Kenyans, this is the agenda that we need to push? After the one term, then what? If that is, if Ruto must go, and then there has to be something beyond that. And if people do not resonate with the things that we've spoken about today, can you go it alone?
Look at it this way. Look at the last election. Change is already here. In the last election, both the current president and the late, my friend, Raila, got roughly 7 million votes each. The largest voter was the non-voter, 8 million.
Yeah.
Why did they not see their future in those two camps? It's never happened in the history of Kenya. The largest voter, in other words, the non-voter, was always below anyone's count. That was the first time it was the largest. That tells you the gap. The gap. So legacy politics of 2022 was not working for 8 million Kenyans. They are still there. And they are increasing. Because a lot of the young people are there. If it is carrying on the same template of legacy politicians on the ballot, that's the gap we intend to capitalize on. Right? There is a need for another voice. That's why you're seeing other groups coming up that were not part of united opposition, that are gathering imagination. Okay? These numbers are more than enough to cause a minimum of a runoff. All right? And if if there's a question of a two-horse race, the Constitution covers that. It says a runoff is the first two candidates.
Right.
Okay? Why do we have to have two horses? You can have three. The two horses will come at runoff. And my assessment, William Ruto will not even be in that runoff if people do it well.
If people do it right.
Yes.
I want to go back to some of the things that plague institutions, and that's the very criminality that we kind of spoke about today. That members of parliament, for example, and it would be surprising that I would choose parliament or the National Assembly, that members of parliament are tasked with the responsibility to represent their people. Now, not represent the executive. Many have complained and talked about parliament under capture. If we want to look at counties and the cartels, yes, I use the word cartels, that operate in criminality when certain things are supposed to happen. There's no water in the taps, but you have water bowsers all over the place. It's criminality that's going on. And when you talk about putting money in the pockets of Kenyans, you still have these issues that you want to deal with. How would you deal with those?
First and foremost, I agree with you about parliamentary oversight. They're supposed to oversight. And this is a big question that has been raised in our courts. My late brother Raila Odinga raised it. Why are they dealing with CDF? Because then they have an implementation role with CDF. And in my view, that takes away their concentration on their oversight role in parliament. They are too busy actualizing CDF to get re-elected. It's 210 million per year. At the end of 5 years, they have dealt with 1 billion shillings. Each member of parliament. That thing is taking away their oversight role. Anything they raise about money, they're told then CDF cannot be paid, and they're in a hurry to make sure they don't look at our numbers, our budget, where development is going. They don't check the executive because there's this carrot, right? Now, I believe one of the things we'll be able to do in a new government, right, as government, as Jimi Wanjigi as president, is ensure that there is more money for the counties, all right? Because now we'll have money. They're not paying debt, this odious debt. Now, if there is more money in the counties, there needs to be an accountability system, right, that comes from the top. You know, our constitution and the framers of it dovetailed a national government. In other words, what happens at the top and in devolution must be synchronized. Must be synchronized. So the executive has an overall role even in the management of devolution, right? In how it's rolled out for the development of the people. We need to really come together. So there are parameters and targets. What is the national government doing in the counties? And what is the county doing to spur the same? Right? So it dovetails together, comes together. And there needs to be an active role. Right now, you even remember that there's 2 meetings the president's supposed to chair, right? With the counties. You never see him. It was a task given to the deputy. And you never hear what they've quite agreed. Governors are left to run their own show. And really, it's not dovetailing with the national. So the president in this is so critical. I don't know what more to tell you. Because if the president was critical about the city of Nairobi, do you think you would have water cartels? Garbage cartels?
But they're governors.
Yes,
devolution under the Constitution has guaranteed that the county bosses will then be able to deal with this thing. Why would you want the national government headed by the president, to then come in
How are
and
cartels
deal with
operating?
their counties.
How are cartels operating? How? That means institutions from the executive are not working. Where is the ACC then? Where is the ACC? That's an arm of the executive. Why is it not dealing with cartels? Isn't it an arm of the executive? What is happening? That's the strong hand of the executive.
That is needed,
of which
that
the
Jimi
president
Wanjigi would deliver?
There's no choice about it.
Okay.
There's no choice about it. That and transparency. There needs to be more transparency. Government is opaque. County governments are opaque. They become sources for people to make profit. That's the other thing. We intend to shove money to make sure money remains in the private sector. Government will deal with core functions. All right? So really, the private sector is where profiteering should be, not in public sector. Now, if you shift the balance, okay, money that is currently being taken by government from our banks, from our taxes, now remains with the public. Why would anybody be rent-seeking in government anymore? There'll be more money to be made in the private sector. You change the capital dimensions. You shift it, you turn it around. So really government just becomes a catalyst, a small catalyst to the growth by policies and by some things that the private sector cannot do.
Cannot do.
Yes.
So
you are removing money. You see,
Yeah.
understand it simply.
Okay.
Government is taking from your pocket in taxation and heavily. You can't meet your needs. All right? And then when you go to the bank, it has taken money. So the interest rates are so high, you can't do anything that is going to create any gain to you. Now, if it is back in your pocket, right, and back in the banks, why would you go to government to rent seek?
You would need to.
Right now, since they have all the money, everyone goes there. All the cartels go there. Everything goes there. But if you create an economy that's big on the outside, look at housing, for example. Do you know we only have 28,000 mortgages in this country?
Yeah.
Since independence.
Very low penetration.
Very low penetration. Just double that. Take it to even 50,000. Imagine the value of real estate, the demand for housing here. That would be the biggest growth area. Forget this affordable housing that I never hear anybody saying they live in it. Somebody was telling me the other day it's just slums that have been built upwards. Okay? Now, imagine that in the private sector. The growth in land, construction, everywhere, just doubling those mortgages. Why would anybody be rent-seeking in government? Coming with corruption and all these funny cartels.
Right.
The game changes. If people have got venture capital from banks, access to venture capital, they'll be the biggest catalyst to anything that's out there. Markets of Mama Mboga, they'll be building themselves. They don't need a county or a government. They'll be doing themselves. They'll just say, we want allocation of land.
And then
you and I will be, you will be doing, not me, you will be doing radio stations and power plants because there'll be venture capital for it. Opportunities become galore because private sector money, masterpiece shareholders, and the only way they make money is by giving loans. If they're not giving government, they'll be begging you to take, right? Now, that will be the growth area. So you remove government as the extraction vehicle, right? So which rent seekers will be there? It becomes a place that you're literally going to do service. You dedicate yourself to changing people's lives.
So it would be Jimi Wanjigi the servant.
Absolutely. You see, we need to shift this. Yeah? A president is not a lord. He is a servant. The president is employed by Kenyans, yet he says shoot people. I mean, you know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There's one thing I also must stress. You see, what the Mzungu created, this company, in somebody called the policeman. Their watchmen became policemen. That tool has been used for abduction, has been used to kill and maim people. Right? That is the domination arm of a failed government. It's no longer a service. You see a policeman today and you wonder whether he will shoot you or abduct you, not serve you.
True.
They are oppressors. Out there, I can tell you a lot of people in Eastlands today, they see a policeman and he's a rent seeker. He's not coming to serve you. He's coming to take you. And if you don't give him something, you'll be inside a cell.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to roll out a very clear provision that's allowable in our Constitution and under the Police Act. There are 597 OCPDs, Officer Commanding Police Division. And the divisions are 597. That is equivalent to an American sheriff. Okay? Now, those divisions, we want to bring a provision in the law that says every 5 years after elections, that OCPD shall be elected by the people of those divisions.
Okay.
And that will be either a career policeman or mwananchi who fits a certain criteria.
Okay. Elected to what?
To be an OCPD.
Okay.
Right? So an OCPD is accountable to the IG on one hand, at the same time, mwananchi. That OCPD, because he's elected, he can serve 2 terms. Because he's elected, he's not going to be somebody, right, who he oppresses the people who elected him. He's not going to get up and say, shoot the people who elected him. So he has a different way of managing the police department. He becomes a servant, a true servant of the people. So you remove the domination arm. He's accountable to them. And remember, he can be a member of the public or a disciplined police officer. And there's a recall clause. So if certain numbers of people are unhappy in the division for him, then they can recall him and have him removed. Now, once you put that in, all right, you are removing the domination and increasing efficiency and accountability of dealing with crime. What you're talking about, cartels, is crime.
It is.
It doesn't even need to be dealt with by EACC. These are reportable offenses that CID can handle. It used to handle before. Once the people are making you more accountable to it, even at that level, you perform. Let's not imagine that there are miracles here, that we're just going to get up and say, I'm going to do. The resistance here will be very heavy. Society, everybody must get involved in this.
And it will take some time.
Not really.
But still, the panacea to all of this seems to be that if you fix the economy and that you guarantee under the Constitution a livelihood for Kenyans that must be protected then by government, that you solve all of these other problems. But then personnel is key to who you appoint. And we know that who you appoint to particular positions to do particular things. And that likelihood of things falling under the hands of somebody who is incompetent is then very high. Many have argued that the key sectors in Kenya today that are failing, that you can point to the person who sits at the helm of that. They've been appointed. In cabinet is appointed by the president.
You know, we have a short memory, Kenyans. We just look at immediate. If you look during the time of Kibaki, he brought back meritocracy. He brought back servant leadership. And it was demonstrated. And it was measured by performance contracts. All that was watered down. It was watered down. Performance contracts were very clear. I'll give you an example. The Minister of Roads said, I need 100 billion to do 1,000 kilometers of road this financial year. And he was given. And the following year, he had to show that he had actually achieved it. If he didn't achieve it, right, his performance was rated and he got less money.
Right.
Because this is his achievement level.
Yes.
Or he got moved to another place. If he achieved it and achieved it below budget, then he is a very efficient operator. And he was given more money that he requested. So the energy of people was to perform, not to put money in their pockets.
Yeah.
It was to perform because I want to be able to say I did X, Y, Z. And remember, then they were politicians.
Yeah.
Right? This should be the case now with these CSEs who are not politicians. They're not supposed to be. Right? Where they clearly have got targets and they are shown up for achieving it. Because it's a great CV. But today, how many people know even the CSEs who are there? The president talks about everybody, everything. Every department, everything. He's the president.
Who are some key people in Kenya that you would say today, this person actually could drive agenda in particular offices, if you can even think at the moment in terms of meritocracy? Is it too early?
You know, you're asking me to reveal secrets.
Let the cat out of the bag. Yes.
No, we have time.
This time.
Ask me this next year, as we are getting to our blueprint.
Yeah.
Because, of course, everyone's going to roll out a manifesto, a blueprint for Kenya. When we are talking about what does Safina Kenya look like, right? A Safina government running Kenya, what does it look like? Ask me then, because we have such an aggressive manifesto. You're going to ask me.
Sure.
How will this be rolled out? Who will roll out this? Who have you identified? All right? And I will tell you then. Today, it's still early.
Right.
Let me not, because, you know, everything we say here, others may also try and copy. So, yeah.
So one of the things, though, that may be of concern is where do we see you, Jimmy? That it would appear as though you are not out there as much as maybe some other people are saying this, making a comment tomorrow. What are you doing at the moment? Many would connect politics of the day with being atop a vehicle somewhere or behind a microphone.
You see, we are saying we are doing things different from legacy politicians. We are saying we are about change. The model of talking from a car is legacy politics. Ruto does the same thing. So if we are about change, we must demonstrate it even in the way we are campaigning. Right? I am seeking dialogue with Kenyans. I want to engage with Kenyans. I came to your show 2022, 2023. We've been dialoguing with Kenyans. We've been doing civic education. We had tried a model of town halls in Mombasa to villagers. And I can tell you, it was very interesting. People could not get enough of discussion. So we are going to present a very different model of campaign. And we're going to try and reach nearly everywhere. We started opening offices.
Okay.
Now we want to go to dialogue. Let us now dialogue, where you have 1,000 people in a room and talk. Let people ask questions. And we'll ask them questions. This is the time when you have a different debate, because these issues are across the nation. It's not about rallies where it's one-way traffic. Ruto has rallies, but everyone knows those are paid rallies. You're paying people to attend. Here we want dialogue. We want people to really feel that that they are being heard, and their lives will change. If you remember Bill Clinton, he was called the king of town halls.
He was.
The king of town halls, the king of debate. He created a very different parameter. If you look at US debates, it's rallies within town halls. Because there's actual connection and debate. We want debate. We'll do some of the traditional, but we must do something different if we are presenting a different campaign, if we are saying we are different. Yeah? This must be a we process. Not a one-way. Yeah.
What are some key sectors beyond the economy that need to be addressed in Kenya today, and how?
And how? Well, I don't know how you divorce anything to the economy, but I'll give you one that, two that extremely worry me. One is our human resource. We have a cut-off system in education where 11 million kids go to primary school, 5 go to high school, and roughly 300,000 go to university. About 800,000 are now going to TVET. All right? Now, If you look at those numbers, people are being cut off, right? And it's our greatest resource. We must find a way of getting people at least to high school. The problems you're facing in high schools today is they're overcrowded. So there needs to be an aggressive program of infrastructure building of high schools to accommodate the current that are going and more. I wish William Ruto had focused on high schools rather than this affordable housing thing. I don't know what he's doing. I wish he had he says he's raised 1.2 trillion out of that.
Yep.
Let me tell you, if it had gone to high schools, would have amazing human capacity.
Yeah.
And Tibet, because we must get into a program where you have got personnel. Look at China. China has become the biggest supply contractor of the world because they have people who can assemble an iPhone.
Yes.
Who can do electric works.
Yeah.
Who can do this. We don't have, if you ask Kenyans to raise 100,000 of those people, they can't. They've got millions. Now, that sector must be addressed. It's a huge sector. The other is energy. The other is energy. In as much as there will be available capital for manufacturing and the productive sector, imagine we have an installed capacity of 3,000, but only about 2,300 megawatts actually operating. For us to grow, that energy sector, if it does not get to a minimum of 10,000, we are lying to Kenyans that we're going to change their lives. Sure. You imagine we've had load shedding in this country since 2018.
Yes.
And that game is not changing. So to grow this economy, that sector, it must be a deliberate attention to that sector, right? And the private sector, this is why we're talking about venture capital. The private sector must be very key in that sector. Banks must have available venture capital, insurance companies, and government would direct very clearly that that is an area of growth that you should invest depositors' money in. So that sector must grow. Otherwise, we are not absorbing our human capacity and we are not getting the output that we need. The other third one, and I say this should actually be number one. Who is a Kenyan? We can talk about all these things, but if we do not identify who a Kenyan is, because a Kenyan has been identified by others, we must remember our identity was taken away.
Yeah.
We must be clear about who is a Kenyan. What is our brand? How do we want to see others look at us? How do we look at ourselves? Because what we are projecting here is a target towards a true sovereign state. And that true sovereign state, economically and politically, cannot be achieved if we don't have a true sovereign identity.
But that sounds, again, like something that will take time. That
Why?
people then, well, I mean, how people start to resonate with a different identity. It takes a moment, doesn't it, Jimmy?
No, tell me,
it's not a slapstick.
when you think of a Kenyan, who is a Kenyan? Who is a Kenyan? Tell me.
Well, I mean, somebody who lives in the geographical area that is Kenyan.
That's one. What else?
Right.
What else? Describe a Kenyan.
Coming from the outside looking in, I mean,
yes.
If somebody who then resonates with, the different parts of the country, speaks a certain language, eats a certain kind of food,
what
has
food
different
do we eat?
cultural affiliations. We're getting into a food security question here.
What is the attitude of a Kenyan? Do we like work?
Oh, Kenyans are resilient, Kenyans focus, Kenyans work hard.
Do we like education?
One would hope.
Do we like clubbing? Do we?
Yeah, you do.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Do we have a unique identifier? We are good runners.
Yes.
So we're good sportsmen. Correct? What else? Are we welcoming? Are we warm?
All of these things.
Are we entrepreneurs? Are we workers?
So
what are we?
What you're saying is put all of these things
yes.
into one
pot. What are acceptable norms and not? Right? What are our morals? What are our cultures? What is our culture?
So what do you do with this? Do you put it in a bottle for people to
yes.
drink? Do you put it in a book
see what happens?
for people to read? What do you do?
What happens is that
people
we
can then
own
imbibe
it.
And
we
say,
own it. We own it. We own it. You know, there are some countries in the world, you hear somebody say, they come from this place, and you immediately think, oh, this is a country of conmen.
Okay.
This is a country of conmen. Immediately. Or these are this. How do you expect people to think of a Kenyan? Who are they? When they think of a Kenyan, you go out there, they say, oh yeah, the great runners.
Yes.
Right? Oh, the people with wildlife. We're even more associated with our wildlife than the people themselves. So how are we going to be put in a bottle? Others see us as servants, yet we're great entrepreneurs. How do we see? When you see a Chinese man, what do you think? When you see an Indian, the first thing that comes to mind is businessman.
Right.
So what is a Kenyan? A runner and a place of wildlife? That cannot be our only identity. It can't be. Right now, we are known as people who don't like their president. Okay? We must graduate to who a Kenyan is when they enter a border of another country.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's a long road ahead. 54 weeks is what it is until the next general election.
It's a long time.
It is. And to then be able to hear what your plan is for the country and whether Kenyans will give you that opportunity to do that. Looking forward to another conversation where we can have and make that happen.
Thank
Jimmy.
You. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Asante sana.
God bless you.
Thank you for keeping it in the Situation Room. This Thursday, it's been 2 hours with Jimi Wanjigi and his plan and what Kenyans need to make it happen. We'll talk again tomorrow, God willing. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.